Kev, first of all, I think we have to congratulate Bideford, deserved winners of the tournament.
I think when it goes to penalties, it can go either way, can't it? And I think it was a very tight game. There weren't many really clear-cut chances. A couple of saves from both goalkeepers. So I think it was tight. I think when a goalkeeper saves all 4 penalties, you're not going to argue much, are you? So I don't think I've seen that before. Tough way for our lads to lose it, but all in all, that'll be good experience for them for their development.
Over the 90 minutes, were you proud of the players' performance tonight?
They did some good things, yeah. They did some good things. I'm proud of the fact that they've managed to get themselves to a final. It doesn't happen too often. They've worked really hard to get there. They certainly didn't let themselves down in terms of attitude and endeavour. And in the first half, I thought we played some okay stuff at times. In the second half, a little bit more sporadic. Some really good stuff, but then some stuff where I think we got caught up with what they do. You know, Bideford are used to being physical and fighting and strong and putting balls in the box and long balls, and that's not what academy football gives you too much of. Even kind of Cat 3 academy football, there's still teams that try and play a little bit more. So from a development point of view, it was a great game for them. Realising, and what I've just said to them in there, at League 2 they've got all the physicality that Bideford have got, except they're fitter, stronger, quicker, and they can play. And that's no disrespect to Bideford because they were good at what they did. That's just the reality of what these kids are trying to get themselves to. You know, we were at the last home game with the first team, and there was so much, you know, fight and battle and hard work and sprinting and chasing back. And then you've got to be good enough to get the ball down and play a little bit. And sometimes you might have to fight and scrap for 80 minutes before you get the opportunity to do it. And I thought in the second half we just weren't brave enough to get the ball down and play our game when having to match them physically, and we got sucked in. So I think a little bit disappointed that we didn't show more of what we were about overall. But again, you just have to go back to the development side of it. It's a final. I'm not sure how many, you know, half of that team, it was their first men's game. In this competition earlier in the rounds, there were a lot of the second years playing. That was all first years, and there were 3 under-16s playing. So it's a great opportunity for them to see what it's about at men's level. Exeter have had great success in sending lads out on loan to teams like that because it toughens them up. They have to learn how to play in it, and we just got to go up against them head to head and see what we could do, and we gave a good account of ourselves. But I think that the lads will look back and think that they probably could have done a little bit more in terms of showing what they were about.
At the end of the 90 minutes, obviously it finished 0-0. It was a good defensive performance, I thought, tonight, and Harry Lee made a couple of brilliant.
Yeah, I thought Harry Lee did really well when called upon. I think there was a mixture of some good defending, some emergency defending, some real emergency defending. I think I'd have to mention the 2 boys from Exeter College. I thought they were both excellent when they came on. Dan Priest was really unfortunate not to get a scholar with us, and he went out there and I thought he gave a great showing of calm leadership, strength, and Harvey Dorothy up front. You know, that was the other thing I suppose I have to give our lads is we didn't have a natural forward. We were playing players out of position a little bit, and so they have to be given credit that they went out there and applied themselves in that. Pedro has to be given credit that he tried to do what he knew or what he thought was good up there, having not really been a forward. Amir at left back, you know, he's a full back, so he gets it to a point, but it's still quite different when you're on the opposite side. I'm sure Jake Caprice will tell you from when he first went over there. So yeah, there's some good stuff again defensively. Well done to Harry Lee. It's not very often you save 2 in a penalty shootout and come out on the wrong side of it. But yeah, overall a little bit disappointed for the lads, and hopefully they go away from the summer and they can reflect on this and their season as a first season as a scholar. 16s getting ready to come back as scholars, and then they hit pre-season hard and try and force their way into the professional ranks.
So you touched on there, it's the last game of the season. How would you sum up the season overall for the under-18s in the academy?
Probably quite similar to that game, really. A lot of good stuff, a lot of not so good stuff. The classic, what you get in youth football. There are times where you can't quite believe that they're doing the opposite of what you've just discussed. There are other times where you see things that come out that you've worked on in training and that they've applied, and they've applied well. And the bits that they then add their own twist on it. You know, that each of those players, they're not robots. They need to go out and they need to show what they're about. The beauty of Exeter is that for those kids, they know that the first team manager will give them a chance, but they need to show the absolute basics that Matt Taylor will require. And Again, throughout the season they've shown some of it, but not regularly enough. They're young men, they're learning, that's expected to a degree, but I just said to them in there, going into next season, we've got to set our standards higher off the pitch, set them higher on the pitch, and really work towards those professional contracts, because it comes around so fast. And unfortunately, I often get the job of sitting in with those lads that don't get pros and telling them, and it's heartbreaking for them, it's heartbreaking for their families, it's one of the toughest parts of the job. I just want to make sure that group, if I'm in that room with them at the end, we can sit and look each other in the eye and know that they've given everything and I've given everything, and the coaches around them have, and that way there's no regrets.